Hey everyone, Bren here. Welcome back to my cottage garden. And you know what? Winter is on the way out. And for most of us down here in the southern hemisphere, we are ready to embrace spring, which I believe is next Friday. So please join me on my very last winter garden vlog of 2023. I'm starting off today over here in the raised garden bed area where I got some more planting done this week. But before we get into that, I think we need to do a bit of a reality check. There are many parts of my garden that are still really messy, really untidy, and just have piles of things being dumped there, like this space. And I'm telling you, I wish it was the only area. There's so many in my garden like this. But, you know, I'll get there. This can wait. Yes, it looks a bit unsightly, but it's not a priority. I've got more important things to do at the moment, especially this time of year when we're almost at spring. Any spare time I have at the moment is spent on sowing seeds, looking after my little baby plants, and popping some seedlings out into the ground. Like here, I got this entire bed planted out with the Ranunculus that were sitting in a tray for a long time. I was going to say weeks, but I think it's more realistic to say they were in there for months. I have planted them fairly close together, a bit more tighter than I would have liked. However, I am quite limited on space this year with the renovations, so this will just have to do. Much better for them to be in the ground than being left in those trays to wilt away. So here I've got 3 different colours. There's the salmon and 2 different pink tones. Look what's going on here. The chickens. That's the bed where I have lettuce. So that's what they're enjoying at the moment. Oh, and a few weeds on the side. And then behind them, there's actually some cabbage there too. Let's take a closer look. It's okay, you're not in trouble. It's a good girl. Here's the cabbage plants. You can tell they're a red cabbage when you look at the veining. It's got this purpley red hue, and that's actually from a pigment called anthocyanin. Okay, let's do that pronunciation again. I'll put the name up on the screen, but I believe it's pronounced anthocyanin, and I've actually mentioned it before here on my channel because I often grow tomatoes which have this pigment in them as well, and the tomato skin is usually like a deep purple color. So yeah, you can find it in quite a number of different edible crops. I also have an update on this bed, which is where I planted all the bare root strawberries. And if you take a look here, you might notice I've only got 1 strawberry plant. The rest of them just died on me. I don't exactly know what I did wrong. I probably didn't water them maybe. Like, is that one there? Look at it. Just didn't really do much. There's no sign of fresh roots there, and the top part just browned up, shriveled up, and that looks pretty dead to me. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But like, surely this one should have a bit of green growth on top since I planted them all at the same time and they came from the same batch. Anyway, now what I have done to make the most of a bad situation is I've actually planted this whole bed with some of those liliums or lily bulbs that I showed you last week. I've managed to squash 70 in here, and I still have 120 to go somewhere else, but 70 is a good start. The first bed over by the entryway to this area is looking really nice. I haven't shown you this in a while. So I've got lots of bulbs that I planted in here that have come up. Like heaps of them, they filled out nicely. And then I've got your sweet peas along here, which haven't grown much, but I know the roots are probably well established now. So once it really warms up, these will take off. And then I've got more ranunculus. These are the white and orange coloured ones. And then here, these are all Dutch irises. I did have some in the ground from last year, but I topped them up a bit. I added in some extra bulbs. And yeah, they're looking great. Remember I had that big patch of Rebecca's growing during the summer, and I decided to dig the plants up and see if I could overwinter them. Well, this is them here. Well, some of them. And I've got good news. I've noticed that although a lot of these plants have dead twiggy sticks coming from the top. I'm so glad I kept them and didn't give up on these plants, because if you look down here in the base, they're starting to put out lovely green shoots, and this is happening on quite a few of them. I'll see if like over here, this is a good example here, and then there's one down here too. So I reckon they're all still alive, and I do have a couple that have shoots coming up the sides of these little branches. So yeah, I reckon most of them have survived. There's just maybe this one which is a bit questionable, but I'll keep going with it. You never know, I might see some growth coming soon. But yeah, I think that's roughly around 12 plants that I've overwintered. I'm delighted with that. And I think I may have mentioned in my video during the summertime that I wasn't sure if I was going to grow these again as cut flowers, because they seem to attract a lot of insects that would eat the petals, and a lot of the blooms weren't usable in bouquets. But you know what, I think even if I don't use these as cut flowers, I think they're a gorgeous display in the garden, and they attract lots of pollinators and beneficial bugs. So I'm definitely going to grow these again. Here's some more of my overwintered plants. So these are status. That one looks all right. This one possibly. Not too sure about that one, and I reckon this one's definitely dead, but I'm glad I gave them a shot. And don't forget, I've actually started some more status from seed. So, you know, I just wanted to see if I could overwinter these plants, which I have succeeded in, but they're pretty easy to start from seed. So I might just treat them as an annual from now on. And then here I have a few more Rebecchias, which a couple of them don't look great, but then this one here, for example, is looking really nice. It's got lots of green foliage there. So overall, I would say that effort I put into overwintering these plants has paid off. It's been 2 weeks since I've given you an update on my seed starting area, and oh my goodness, the last time I showed you here it was just bare soil or potting mix, seed raising mix. Look what's happening. There's so much life in here, so much germination. It's incredible and really exciting. But something I know you're all going to love, because what's summer without tomatoes? Watch what's happened in this section. If we go to the back, look, I have tomato seedlings. The Cosmic Eclipse and the Ram's Horn have germinated. I pulled the tray out so we could take a better look, because I also noticed there's a little sprout here from the Golden Roma, and then over here have the purple tomatillo. And you know, I love to oversow my seeds, because although I'll never be planting all of these out in the garden, I do like to plant extra seeds just in case, because you never know what can come along and eat your seedlings anywhere along the way. And even when they get to larger plants, you have birds and stuff that like to nip at them and break off the top. So yeah, I like to always sow more than I need. No sign of any other seedlings, and I still haven't got around to sowing. Ooh, look at this. I haven't got around to sowing this section, which I'm planning on putting some eggplants and maybe capsicums in here. Look at that. This is a sterile seed raising mix, so there's not meant to be any seeds popping up, although they look like chili seeds, are they? Oh, I don't know where they've come from, but I'll just pull them out because I've got no idea what they are, and I'm not going to waste my time raising something on the chance that it could be an edible crop or a flower. It might end up just being weed. This is valuable space in the greenhouse that I don't want to waste, so see you later, little fellas. I'm sorry, but not today. It's not happening. I have to make sure I put these back into the greenhouse, because if I left these out tonight, I don't know what would happen. I don't want to lose them after I went to all that effort of sewing them and labelling them. Let's have a quick look at how everything's coming along in here. I just love this. Just in case anyone's wondering what's happened to my nails, because usually they're really gross and brittle and short or bitten away. These are fake nails. I just felt like doing something a bit different this week. They're only like the stick-on ones with the glue. So yeah, that's why I have these. Next week I'm sure I'll be back to my normal grubby self. Okay, so we're back to the gardening. In here I have some cornflower white. I've grown these in little individual cells, as you can see, and what I've done in each of them is I've popped in 2 seeds, and what I eventually will do is with the weaker seedling I will just pinch it off at the bottom and allow the stronger seedling to grow and take over the entire section and let the roots get nice and healthy before I transplant them out. The giant column stalk, white and lilac, cornflower pink, nigella white, nigella blue. This one's been a bit slower to germinate, but they are older seeds, but I do still see green speckles here and there. Queen Anne's lace white and chocolate. Wow, where am I going to put all these plants? I certainly don't have the space for them all, but I'm dreaming at the moment. Isn't that what late winter's about? Just dreaming about the possibilities. And you get a bit carried away too, I reckon. Here we have sunflower seedlings, status special mix, which is just a blend of colours. But then down here I have a tray with 2 separate colours. There is the purple and twilight lilac. Great germination here on the straw flowers tall mix. And then I have the mixed cut flower blend of early wonder zinnias. I've been hand misting these seedlings every morning and evening, and in past videos I have said to you that the way I like to raise my seedlings or get them to germinate is put a reservoir of water underneath. I usually use, the barbecue silver foil trays. However, this year, because I'm growing a lot more cut flowers in these larger trays, I just don't have reservoir trays large enough to hold water and to place these in. So, it's a bit more effort, but it's still doable. I just wanted to say before I move away from this area that if there's any new gardeners watching this and you may be thinking, oh my goodness, look at all these seeds she's sown, have I left it too late? No, you haven't. If it's the same time of year for you in a similar climate, everything you see here can be sown now over the next few weeks. So you've got plenty of time ahead of you to get a lovely garden ready for spring, summer. Well, that is a wrap for winter 2023. Oh, do you hear the birds? They're ready for spring too. And you know what? I'm really excited to share all my gardening adventures with you over the next few months. Spring, summer and autumn. It's always a great time of year for us gardeners getting outside, pottering around, although summer can get a bit hot. And actually, they are predicting that we're going to be going through a drought this year. So that could be a bit of a challenge, but I've been through it before, like many gardeners here in Australia and elsewhere in the world. And you know what? We're a resilient bunch. We'll get through it. We'll adapt. Yeah, so excitement ahead of us. Thanks so much for watching this week. I'll see you again next Friday.